this whole thing with coronavirus is really epidemiology and about dealing with risk and probability of exposure and all this stuff. And there seems to be some kind of debate about, is this really deadly? Is this really a big risk? Is it worse than flu? Is this lockdown necessary? I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, having sort of dug into epidemiology? I mean, I know you didn't look at infectious disease in particular, but do you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I wrote the book months before any of the COVID-19 stuff started happening and really hit the U.S. But it's actually, like, writing the book was actually the best training that I could have had for trying to deal with the current situation, for a couple different reasons. The first is that, like, I mean, right now the headlines are changing every 5 minutes. Sometimes they're contradictory. Sometimes, like, as we've seen with the CDC, right? Like, a month ago they were saying don't wear a mask unless you're sick or a healthcare worker or anything like that, and now they're saying, if you go outside, it's a good idea to put on a mask, even if it's a bandana, right? Like, that is a dramatic change. And so trying to understand things like, well, why did they change their guidelines like that, and trying to deal with all the headlines coming at you, diving into nutritional epidemiology and also health news was really good training for that.
Yeah. I think you said the news cycle in that area is something like 22 days. Like there'll be a news headline out saying coffee can kill you, and then 22 days later it'll be like coffee prevents heart attacks. So
yes, that was one of the most surprising things that I mean, I had always heard, and probably you had too, that, like, like one day coffee will kill you, and the next day it's totally fine for you, and then the day after that it's like actually good for you. And so how are we supposed to know what to trust? And I had always thought that was kind of an exaggeration. But when I actually went and I went into LexisNexis and looked at headlines that contained the words coffee risk and increase or decrease over a period of, I think, 20 years or something like that. And sometimes the headlines literally were coming out within 22 days of each other. I mean, opposite headlines in the same month, which, if you're a consumer trying to read that, like, what the hell are you supposed to make of that? It's insane. So yeah. And today, these days, the headlines it's not every 22 days, it's every day, right?
Right.
So it's even crazier and even more fast paced than the headlines about food.